swept away by her deep need for connection and family. She had allowed herself to be blind to Lance's less than desirable personality traits because she had craved closeness and had been tired of being alone. She had been desperate for family after her parents' deaths. Lance had offered her a chance to, once again, be part of a loving home. He had known all the right things to say to make her mourning heart feel joy again. And she had bought into it. Even when he had balked at the idea of signing prenups. Even when he had asked her to change the way she dressed and the way she wore her hair. Even when every sign pointed to the fact that he wasn't ever going to love anyone as much as he loved himself, she had allowed herself to believe the lies he'd told her. She had wanted family so much that she had been willing to compromise on things that she shouldn't have. Like the vacation home in Florida. A multi-million-dollar property that Lance had made a cash offer on. Her cash, of course. The plan had been to fly to Florida after their wedding, complete their purchase, and then honeymoon in their dream vacation home. Only, it hadn't been her dream. It had been his. She had been the bankroll, paying his way. Despite the bragging he had done about the small business he owned, he never seemed to have money. After the first few months of their relationship, when I love yous had been exchanged and the future was being planned, he had stopped paying for dinners and trips. She had paid for their dates, fueled their cars, and told herself that it was all perfectly normal. She had known it wasn't. Deep in her heart, she had understood that something was very wrong with her relationship. She just hadn't been able to admit it. When he had insisted they put the money for the Florida property in a joint account, she'd balked, but he'd hounded her about it, accusing her of selfishness and arrogance, until she'd complied. He had been a master manipulator. She only wished that she had realized that before they had gone to the bank together and opened a new account. She had transferred $2 million of the money she had inherited from her parents. Lance had been thrilled. He'd treated her to a lovely dinner, praised her beauty, and told her they would spend the rest of their lives together, splitting time between Anchorage and Miami. Then, later that night, he had given her a diamond bracelet to wear on their wedding day. She should have been charmed, but she'd noticed that the money had come from the account they'd just opened. She'd been embarrassed for him and for her. She would rather he have given her a card with something lovely written inside than an expensive gift that she had paid for. That night, she transferred the house money back into her account, leaving nothing but a few $1,000s. She hadn't told him. If she hadn't been pregnant, she probably would have ended the relationship. But there'd been a baby to think about. An unexpected complication to a relationship that had already gone from romance of the century to having her question whether her groom-to-be had ever truly loved her. She hadn't told Lance she was pregnant. She had been worried about his reaction. That should have been another huge clue to the fact that he wasn't the right person for her. She frowned, staring out into the bright sunlight, wishing she had made dozens of different choices. She didn't regret having her daughter, but she regretted the decision she'd made that led her here. A medical clinic on the edge of Anchorage, desperate, scared, and on the run from Lance, and the police. "Are you okay, hun?" a receptionist asked. "Fine," Violet said, shoving open the door and stepping outside without looking back. She couldn't afford to make a spectacle of herself. Even sleep-deprived and ever more anxious to return to civilization, she had to make decisions that would protect her baby and protect the survivalist family who had taken her in and helped her stay hidden for the past 7 months. The Seavers lived off the grid in Chugach State Park. Violet had learned a lot from them, but she didn't want to raise her daughter in an underground bunker in the wilderness. She wanted to bring Ava home to the beautiful house she had grown up in and offer her little girl the same security and sense of belonging she had felt growing up. "We'll get back there, sweetie," she murmured, patting the baby's back as she hurried along the sidewalk. Brisk October air stung her cheeks and ruffled her hair. She pulled her hood up, more to cover her face than to keep her warm. Violet wore a dark wig and heavy makeup, thick glasses, and layers of clothes. But despite her meticulous disguise, she still worried that Lance would find her.